All right, today's lesson is on literal equations and inequalities. A literal equation is an equation in which the coefficients and constants have been replaced by variables. Literal equations can be used to generalize specific equations having the same form. For example, I can have 2x plus 1 equals 2. And if I were to generalize that, I can call that ax plus b equals c. This would be my literal equation. I just replace the coefficients and constants with other variables. So this becomes a general format for this equation. And let's see what we can do with this. For example, let's say I say solve 3x plus 1 equals 7. Well, we know how to solve that. You're going to take this equation and you can subtract 1 to both sides. So you get 3x equals 6. If I divide both sides by 3, I get x equals 2. But what if I did it this way? What if I solve for the general equation? I have ax plus b equals c, and I say solve for x. So if I were to solve for x on this one, I would just simply subtract b to both sides. So I have ax equals c minus b. And then I divide both sides by a to get the variable by itself. So I wind up with x equals c minus b over a. This is a general equation, and it has the same format as this one. So I could say, another way I could solve this, I could say, okay, a equals 3. And I could say that b is 1. And I could say c is 7. And I can evaluate those numbers into this expression to find out the value of x. So I can say c, that's 7, minus b, which is 1, divided by 3. Well, 7 minus 1 we know is 6. And if I divide that by 3, I'll still get x is 2. All right, here's another one. Say solve 3 times the quantity x minus 15 equals 3. Well, you can distribute that. I have 3x minus 45 equals 3. And if I were to add 45 to both sides, I get 3x equals 48. And if I divide both sides by 3, I get x equals 16. And here's the general format of that equation. I can just solve for x. I can have ax plus ab equals c. And if I subtract ab to both sides, I get ax equals c minus ab, and I divide both sides by a. So I wind up with x equals c minus ab over a. And I can do the same thing. I could say that a is 3, right? I can say b is negative 15. Be careful, that's a negative there. And then c is also 3 here. So I can say x is equal to, I can say 3 minus the product of 3 times negative 15 divided by 3. And look, so when you have a negative and negative, that changes to addition. So I have 3 plus, and 3 times 15 is 45 over 3. 3 plus 45 is 48. So again, you're going to have x equals 48 divided by 3, which is 16, which matches there. A literal inequality is the inequality in which the coefficient and constants are replaced by variables, similar to the linear equations. Remember, when you divide or multiply by a negative number, the direction of the inequality changes. So don't forget from the previous lesson, anytime you divide by a negative number or multiply by a negative number, you're going to change the sign around. So in this case, you have x is, now it's going to be greater than negative 4. All right, solve the inequality 3x minus 5 is greater than 4. So from the previous lesson, we know how to solve that. So you're going to add 5 to both sides. So you get 3x is greater than 9. And you divide both sides by 3. So you get all numbers that are greater than 3. If you were to solve this in general, you got ax minus b is greater than c. You add b to both sides. So you got ax is greater than c plus b. And you divide both sides by a. So what you have is x is greater than c plus b over a. So look, if a is 3, b is 5, and c is 4, you just plug those in, so you're going to get 4 plus 5 over 3, which is 9 over 3, which is 3. So all numbers that are greater than 3. All right, similarly, solve this. You have solve 2x minus 3 is less than or equal to 7. So you're going to add 3 to both sides. So you have 2x is less than or equal to 10. You divide 2 to both sides, so x is less than or equal to 5. If you were to do this in general, you would add b to both sides. So you have ax is less than or equal to c plus b. So x is less than or equal to c plus b over a. A is 2, b is 3, and c is 7. You can say 7 plus 3 over 2, which is 10 over 2, which gives you the same result. This concludes our lesson for today.